Taporia thinks it's very possible that he headlines the first Paramount card of the new year to kick off the Paramount deal in January. His opponent would either be Justin Gaethje or Paddy Pimblett. Regarding the possibility of fighting Islam Makhachev if Makhachev loses to JDM, Taporia says if Islam loses, he can go back to Dagestan to his farm, and continue shepherding his sheep. And Ilya Taporia thinks his friend Murad Dvalishvili, after fighting Pyotr Yan, should move up to 145 and challenge for a belt there. I've already told Murad he needs to change weight classes because he 100% has a chance to win a second belt. As for a fight against Volkanovski, I have no doubts on what happens in that fight. I know that it ends with Murad winning. Ronda Rousey leaves the door open to make a comeback in MMA because she says one neurologist tells her she hasn't had as many concussions as she thought she has. He tells her that they were migraines similar to the one she had when she was a child. She left the game because of neurological issues, with those no longer being an issue. The door is open for her to come back. There's a lot of women in the UFC bantamweight division who are not good. She could fight them, or they could have some influence or get beat up by her in the UFC cage. That's also a possibility, but she hasn't committed to coming back, at least not publicly.
I was getting concussion symptoms easier and easier. And it got to the point where, like, any kind of impact at all, I was basically, like, losing my vision.
Wow.
And I actually recently got some really great news about that because Dana had me, he wanted to be part of, like, this long-term fighter study they're doing for, like, neurological, everything. And so he sent me to the Cleveland Clinic to get checked out. And the doctor there, he was like, the first person to actually give me good news, because because a lot of times it's just like neurologically, you're like, oh well, you're just going to deteriorate forever, and it's just going to get worse and worse, and there's nothing you can do about it. That's just what they always told you. And he said that I used to get migraines as a kid, and he told me that people that get migraines, for some reason, it's easier for them to get concussions. And what he thinks is happening is the more concussions I got, the easier it was for an impact to set off a migraine. And he thinks that because my brain looks better than it should. And so he thinks what's happening is I haven't had as many concussions as I think. And that a lot of times when I'm getting hit, I'm not experiencing concussion symptoms, it's migraine symptoms. So he says, because you can have a migraine without a headache. So what's happening is I get hit and then I lose a big chunk of my vision, basically. It's like I can't see. And when I lose my depth perception and my ability to track moving objects or think quickly, so I'm like, oh, I'm knocked out. I'm out of my feet. But he's like, because you're not stumbling around, he's like, I don't think it's a concussion. I think it's what's happening is you're getting a migraine. And so and so it's got to the point where I can't fight safely because if I get hit, I basically can go blind.
Oh, wow.
But the thing is, there's things I can also do about it. So I'm trying to address it nutritionally and things like that. But yeah, it's kind of nuts because I thought I'm like, okay, well, I'm just gonna get CT any day now, And he was like, yeah, I finally got some good news. So maybe there's something you can do about it, and it's not the nail on the coffin of being able to fight. So that's actually great news, but I don't know what I'm going to do with that. Trying out what they're trying to do, I'm trying to nutritionally be able to address things and stuff like that. But I also, it's yeah, what's the point of going out and taking head impacts to see if it works or not?
RDR by knee TKO. Could be. That's how he stopped Bo Nickel. That's almost how he stopped Robert Whittaker too, but Whittaker was able to survive that. Way too early for Jalen Turner to call it a career. Good to see him back. His retirement lasted slightly longer than I expected. Yeah, 7 months is a really long time for an MMA retirement. Jiri Prochazka was down 2-0 going into third round with his fight with Khalil Roundtree, but he doesn't feel he was losing, even though he was on the scorecards. He got way more aggressive in round 3, and Khalil got more passive as he started to fade, and Jiri started to flourish.
From you being down 2-0 to eventually come back in the third. No, you don't think so? You don't think those first 2 rounds, you think it was 1-1 going into the third?
On the points, that was his round, yeah. But the game, what was in the cage, it was in my hand. Maybe he throws more punches, he catch me a little bit, but all the movement, all the settings, I just tried to find the best way how to take over. And I know you don't like it, but you wrote on the paper when we were on the camp in Arizona to take a risk, take a risk. And so the last round was to just prove all these things by the risk, a little bit risky, but everything what I did in the last round, I knew that what I'm doing, and I saw just Khalil was step by step worse and worse in the yeah by all these rounds, and that was not I don't want to say that was my plan, but it was a plan to start slowlier and push it more, and find a way by these trying to put more percentage in the performance.
Jiri has only had 2 fights go the distance in his 38-fight MMA career. In his UFC career, 8 fights, none of his fights have gone the distance, including the fight where he won the title against Glover Teixeira, where he needed a finish in round 5. Otherwise, he was going to lose the fight. It did not look like he was going to get a finish in round 5, but somehow he turned things around at the very end, and with 28 seconds left, he got a rear naked choke win to get the victory. Him winning by submission was not a very likely outcome at all, but he pulled it off with 28 seconds left. DDP doesn't think that Khamzat Chimaev would stand a chance against Alex Pereira. He thinks the big issue would be the size of Alex Pereira. Khamzat supporters would contend that DDP said the same thing about himself, and he Khamzat 50-45'd him.
Khamzat has called out Pereira at heavyweight. What do you make of that?
I mean, he's always had crazy call-outs. Khamzat, there's no way he beats Pereira, in my opinion. I think Pereira right now is one of the greatest to ever do this sport, or any combat sport for that matter. But yeah, he's a big guy. Even now at light heavyweight, he looked so big against Goliath. It was crazy. So yeah, I think that's all hype. I don't think there's any realistic chance of that ever happening.
As far as what's next for DDP, well, he's not going to get a rematch with Khamzat for the title. Nasruddin Imavov might be fighting for the belt next, so he probably won't fight him. He's already fought Strickland twice. De Ritter's fighting this weekend. Adesanya, he already fought. Maybe Anthony Hernandez he could fight. Hernandez was supposed to fight this weekend, but he pulled out due to injury. So maybe when he comes back, he fights DDP. Christian Leroy Duncan taking on Marco Tulio at the UFC Fight Night card at the UFC Apex November 8th. Should be a good striking battle. Tulio's coming off a knockout victory over Tresean Gore. CLD's coming off a knockout over Eric Anders. May give the edge to Tulio in pure striking, although CLD has a tricky and effective striking style himself. I'll give the edge in power to Tulio. 3 fights back, CLD had a very tough time with the power of Gregory Rodriguez. Got beat up badly in that fight, but survived and lost a decision. But not uncommon when you face a beast like Gregory Rodriguez with that kind of power. But since then, CLD has won 2 in a row and looked good.